My children soon will be gods. この狩りの始まりだ。
How do you know when things are really, really bad?
Waffle House closes.
Yes. First, it's like emergency services are being called. Second is if the Dollar General shuts down. Third is if the Waffle House shuts down. That's strike three. Once Waffle House shuts down, you need to leave. Because if they shut down, then it's bad. It's really, really bad. Have you ever been to a Waffle House when bad things have happened? I have. I saw a dude, like, leap across a table and, like, start, like, trying to choke somebody that was in the booth. And they basically just, like, fought in the middle of the floor. And then, like, eventually, like, the employees broke it up and, like, you know, took him outside. And that was that. And I also saw someone, like, dealing, and basically they basically, like, were going back to where the restrooms were, and they were, like, handing out drugs back there. So yeah, that
I can count the number of times I've been to Waffle House on one hand, and all I really ever witnessed was the employees sounding kind of annoyed at each other about stuff.
that sounds about right. Here's what I'll say about Waffle House.
The last time I went to Waffle House was after a show with a goth girl that I ended up getting with afterwards. So.
Nice. Here's what I'll say about Waffle House. The food, not bad. If I had my choice, I would say scrambled eggs and waffles. That's all I would need. Scrambled eggs and a bacon. Scrambled eggs, bacon, and a waffle. You give me that, I'm happy. I will literally just, like, hoover that waffle down so fast that it's not even funny. I mean, their waffles are good. I mean, I can't speak bad about it. And their eggs are all right. And their bacon's usually cooked pretty good, especially if you tell them you want it a little chewy. But yeah, the Roman Colosseum of the South, apparently. I mean, we all saw that chair bender girl. You remember that? A lady chucks like an aluminum chair across the counter into, like, the back where the cooks were. This girl blocks it and, like they call her the last chair bender. Yeah, it was funny as hell. And if he doesn't mention that in this video, I'll be very surprised. But Waffle House is sort of like a legendary thing, and people across the nation, or people across the world, know about Waffle House. And people who come to America want to go to a Waffle House just to see the chaos unfold. But here's the thing, 99% of the time, nothing happens. It's only in those, like, rare circumstances where things go haywire. And honestly, that sounds about right. But anywho, we got this video queued up here by the Fat Files, aka the Fat Electrician, and his food-oriented channel. We're gonna see what he's got to say about the Waffle House. So let's check it out. You ready to go? Let's go. All right, Nick. Oh wait, damn. Two Nicks on.
Probably uses a K.
Yeah, he does.
Most
Two Nicks
do.
on the screen. Nick with a K. Entertain us.
Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. I actually debated on which channel I was going to upload this video on, because on one hand, we're going over a business and the business model that it has, but on the other hand, this restaurant is basically the Roman Colosseum of the South, and I'm pretty sure if you eat there enough, you actually get a deployment patch from the US military. Regardless, I wore my schnazziest tank top for the occasion.
Nice shirt.
Today we're talking about Waffle House. Okay, just to be completely clear with everybody, I was pretty sure I was not going to get caught off guard because Waffle House is already absolutely crazy. I started looking into it and then found out that Waffle House is somehow connected to the Manhattan Project from World War II. So they managed to actually surprise me, and we're going to get to it right after a word from our sponsor. Yeah, babe, what's up?
Boombox.
Okay. I can go
His
get you
wife's.
Perfect.
one. All right, I'll go get it now. Love you.
Love you.
All right, bye.
1 hour later.
Where's that boombox that I asked for?
Oh, it's right here. I got it for you.
God
What
dang
is
it.
this?
It's a boombox.
It's an AR.
No, I wanted something to play music with.
Oh, that kind of boombox. Yeah, I got this instead.
Okay, we'll go to the store and get me a boombox so I can listen to music.
Can I keep this one still?
I don't care.
Well, that's your
This
money,
video is
dude.
brought to you by Delete Me, K's super simple business model. You give them money, they turn around and they make sure that online data brokers are not selling your personal information online. Okay, here's the deal. Pretty much anytime
I don't
you use
trust
a free
it.
service on the internet,
If
you
I'm being
click that
honest,
little
I don't
box that
trust
says,
it.
I agree to the terms and conditions.
How
You
am I
basically
ever
just agreed to
supposed to
allow
check
them
their
to
work?
harvest as much of your personal information
Yeah, that's
as humanly
true.
possible. They then turn around and sell that to online data brokers, and that's how they can afford to offer you a free service. But when you have Delete Me,
Free.
they go and they monitor all of these online data brokers for your personal information, and then if they find it, they submit all the opt-out forms on your behalf, so they have to take down and stop selling that information. So when you buy Delete Me, you're not actually buying anything, you're just buying your way out of all the negative consequences of all the free shit that you've already got. And because they continue to monitor those data brokers, you're buying yourself out of all the future negative consequences of all the free shit that you haven't even gotten yet. So if you want to give Delete Me a try, there's going to be a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, Waffle House. Our story begins with a gentleman by the name of Tom Faulkner. This man graduated from law school at 23 years old, passed the bar, and immediately gets drafted in 1940 in the days leading up to World War II.
Tom Faulkner. I was gonna say if he winds up working with the guy whose last name is like Spoonhauer, I'm just gonna die laughing. Faulkner and Spoonhauer.
II. Because he graduated from college, he's presented with two different options. He can A, go straight into officer training, and that's a 3-year commitment, or he can just be a normal draftee and go in as an enlisted soldier, and that is a 1-year commitment. Now you gotta remember, at this point in time, like 1940, while World War II is currently going on, America's not involved yet. The attack on Pearl Harbor has not happened, and prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, the American people did not want to go to war. Because of that, Tom Faulkner figures, hey, we're not actually going off to war. I don't want to waste 3 years of my time just being in the military, not actually, fighting a war or whatever. So he chooses to be a draftee. Goes into the military as an enlisted soldier, E1 private. From there, goes off to basic training. As soon as he gets through basic training, the attack on Pearl Harbor ends up happening. America enters the war. He immediately opts to go into OCS training and commits for 3 years. After he completes the officer training course, he actually gets slotted to be a counterintelligence officer, where he does, and I quote, a lot of top secret stuff.
You see, my identity must remain mysterious and my mission secret. I cannot reveal it to you.
You can actually tell in the interviews that he gave later on in his life, like in his 70s, 80s, and 90s, that he's still not sure what he is and what he isn't allowed to talk about. But he did end up telling us that basically it was his job to try to sneak onto military bases, not as military personnel. So he would basically disguise himself as like a painter or a carpenter or whatever, and try to infiltrate a U.S. military base to expose weaknesses within the system to help counteract enemy spies. So he does that for a couple of
So
years.
basically, he was a faux infiltrator. Neat.
It's kind of like a secret shopper for military bases.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
One day he ends up getting orders like,
It's like
hey,
the
you're
dudes
going
that
to
come
Knox-
into gas stations and try to like get people to sell them alcohol without an ID, but they're actually working with the cops. Like,
and they're trying to bust you. So that's why you always check for IDs.
Knoxville, Tennessee, and he's like, okay.
Wait, Knoxville?
Couple of years, and then one day he ends up getting orders like, hey, you're going to Knoxville, Tennessee, and
Literally like an hour and a half to 2 hours away from here. Jesus. Wait a minute. Don't tell me. Is homie gonna be working for Oak Ridge? They said he was connected to the Manhattan Project, and Oak Ridge was responsible for a lot of the uranium, the enriched uranium that was used for the Manhattan Project. Is that what he... I was gonna say, how's he gonna be involved with that? I mean, what's...
And he's like, okay, for what? And they're like, don't fucking worry about it, just show up. So he shows up in Tennessee and he's given his orders. And those orders, I'm paraphrasing here, but they're essentially, hey, here's your partner. You two are gonna hop in that truck and you are gonna drive it from Knoxville, Tennessee to Los Alamos, New Mexico. You guys are gonna dress in plain clothes. You're not gonna look at what's inside the truck. You're not gonna talk about what's inside the truck. You're gonna take this map and take that exact route. This route avoids every major city and every major highway. You are gonna drive straight there, 53 hours straight, taking turns turns sleeping in the passenger seat and not stopping for any reason whatsoever. And he does this for the next year and a half, pretty much non-stop, and then like 20, 30 years after the fact, he finds out that he was actually hauling the majority of the enriched uranium for all of the nuclear testing and the building of nuclear weapons. Which, as we all know, brings about the...
Yeah, so he was working for Oak Ridge. God, dude. That's intense.
End of World War II, at which point he gets out of the military, moves back home to Atlanta, Georgia, starts helping his dad out with his real estate agency. Now, he does that for about 10 years, and during this time, he ends up selling the house right next door to his to another guy by the name of Joe Rogers, and they pretty much become best friends. Joe Rogers was also an Army veteran. He was actually a pilot that flew B-24s in World War II. When Joe got back home after the war, he did not want to go off to college, so he actually just took the first job that he was offered, being a short-order cook at a now defunct restaurant chain known as Tuttle House. He worked his way up, becoming a restaurant manager, then eventually becoming a regional manager. And then one day, his neighbor and best friend, Tom Faulkner, real estate agent, always looking for the next investment, comes to him and is like, hey, I'm thinking about opening up my own restaurant. I can get the real estate deal going on that side. I just wanted to know, like, if I opened up and bought a franchise of Tuttle House, would you be willing to run it for me? Now, at this point, it's like 1954, 1955. Joe Rogers has a ton of experience inside the restaurant industry, and he basically tells his best friend, like, hey, don't open a Tuttle House. You should start your own thing. Tuttle House's business model isn't that great. If you start your own restaurant, I will help you run it. He then goes off on vacation with his family, and by the time he comes back, Tom Faulkner has already bought the real estate and comes to Rogers and is like, cool, what's the business we're starting?
Where's Pancake's house? What? We stop at Pancake's house.
International
And
House
within the
of
span of like
Pancakes.
6 months,
Yeah. Fargo. Dude, Fargo is such a great freaking movie.
the very first of what is now the legendary restaurant chain of Waffle House opens. And Waffle House is legendary probably for all the wrong reasons. I mean, even if you've never been to a Waffle House, you've heard about Waffle House because, well, I mean, Kid Rock got in a fight there. You've got Haley Booth, the viral Waffle House.
Hey, there she is.
Airbender.
Yeah. What's up?
There's entire
come on, show the whole
YouTube
clip.
channels almost exclusively dedicated to all the fights that break out at Waffle House. I remember the first time I went to a Waffle House, I stretched first, I grabbed a GoPro, I was ready to yell World Star, nothing exciting happened. I just had delicious breakfast at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Which is par for the course, man. I mean, honestly, that 99 times out of 100, that's your experience. You just go in there, get your food, and that's it. I've been to Waffle House more than at least a dozen times, and the only time I witnessed like that fight was once, and then I witnessed the drug dealings and like another time, but you know, there was no fight happening. It was just people exchanging, you know, chemical substances.
Which is probably 99% of people's experiences because despite all of the negative PR, Waffle House makes a ton of money and has an incredible business model. Okay, Waffle House had about $1.4 billion in revenue last year, which is about $650,000 per location, and when you take into consideration that each Waffle House is absolutely tiny, that's really impressive. Out of their 2,100 tiny Waffle House locations, their yearly stats are 58 million cups of coffee, 124 million waffles, 153 million servings of hash browns, 272 million eggs, which is about 2% of all the eggs consumed in the United States of America, and 85 million strips of bacon.
That's a lot of bacon.
Yes, I did the math. That is about 8,000 miles worth of bacon.
Christ.
Worry what you just heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have.
So Waffle House is obviously doing something right. What exactly are they doing? Well, it all comes down to their business model and their branding. Now, with the Waffle House branding, all the negative PR about fights always breaking out at Waffle House, in a way, has actually helped them out a ton because Waffle House, by and large, is pretty much a regional chain. It's primarily down in the South. Yet, Waffle House has become a household name pretty much everywhere in America. You could have never even seen a Waffle House, and you already know Waffle House is open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and they serve breakfast. Why do you know they serve breakfast? Because their name is fucking Waffle House. I mean, look at this sign. You're driving down the road, you see that, you know everything you need to know. They sell breakfast. The end. Do that with another breakfast place. If you're not from there and you don't know what a Denny's or a Perkins or an IHOP is, you have no idea. It's just a restaurant. Maybe. Waffle House, they're selling waffles, which means there's like a 99% chance they sell other breakfast food.
Yeah. That's in terms of name branding, Waffle House sort of corners the market because IHOP, dude. I remember when IHOP was going to rebrand to IHOB, International House of Burgers.
They're like, well, it was a prank.
Yeah.
The other thing about IHOP though is, I guess people might have forgot, but they put IHOP on their signs after a while.
Mm-hmm.
But they used to have the full entire name written out on the sign, and people just called it IHOP for short.
Yeah, International
So it used
House
to be
of
written
Pancakes.
out International House of Pancakes, which I mean should have been pretty obvious that it was a breakfast restaurant at that point.
Yeah.
But now they've adopted the IHOP and shortened it, so now anybody who's been living under a rock might not know.
Yeah, well, Waffle House already said, like, Waffle House. That's literally like 3 syllables. IHOP, Perkins, Denny's. Whereas International House of Pancakes.
It's too much of a mouthful.
Yeah, whereas, Waffle House is like 3 syllables, easy to say. And you're not going to call it the WH. You're just going to call it the Waffle House. Because it's easy enough to say. But anyway.
Fucking sold. I'm in. So already, the branding is absolutely
They
incredible.
should have just
Here's
called
the
it
true
Pancake Palace.
I can see that. Yeah. Or the Flapjack House.
I just liked Pancake Palace because of the alliteration.
I can see that. Yeah, Pancake Palace or God.
Pancake Paradise.
Ooh, now that I like. But IHOP, I mean, their business model, I mean, they were open 24 hours a day. Now they're not anymore, and that makes me sad. But Waffle House has always been 24 hours. Always.
But you do also have Dunkin' Donuts. They're pretty obvious breakfast.
Well, you know what they say, America runs on Dunkin'.
Do they?
They don't. In all honesty, I like Dunkin'. Krispy Kreme has better donuts. But Dunkin' does have better coffee. Way better coffee.
Genius of it. Why did they call it Waffle House? Why didn't they call it Breakfast House or Bacon House or Hash Brown House? It's because waffles had the highest profit margin. I cannot stress to you enough how absolutely genius that is, right? Because you don't need to sell breakfast, all right? Everybody's already in on breakfast, okay? I could be blackout drunk at 4 in the morning and you could ask me, hey, do you want breakfast? I'm coming up like the Undertaker every single time. And there you go. The only thing open right now is Waffle House, okay? I was already sold on breakfast from the get-go. But because Waffle House is where we're going, guess what I'm getting? A motherfucking waffle, and they're making more money. It makes sense that Tom Faulkner was a counterintelligence officer because the man literally said 2 words and has already subconsciously tricked you into ordering the most expensive thing on the menu that makes him the most money. So the branding of Waffle House is both simple and brilliant, and the rest of the business model matches that to a T. Okay, all Waffle Houses are like virtually identical. They're very small. They only seat like 30 people, and you can actually see the cook making you your food. Now at a glance, you're just like, oh, they're just going for that like 1950s drive-through type of a vibe, which they are, but there's way more to it than that. Because the restaurant is so small, the kitchen never has the opportunity to get bogged down, meaning that they're moving tables very, very quickly. So instead of having 1 kitchen and 100 customers, you've got 1 kitchen and 30 customers, and you can just turn those tables over 3 times faster, which pretty much guarantees that every customer is going to get exactly what they wanted. Okay, they're not going in there for 5-star dining. They're going in there because they're hungry and they want breakfast, and now they're going to get breakfast really quick in a small setting that doesn't feel like a packed restaurant where they have to wait in line to be seated. And I know what you're thinking. What if one Waffle House just reaches its maximum capacity, right? What if it's just completely full with a line out the door 24/7 every day of the year? Waffle House surely would build a bigger Waffle House, right? No. We're going to take the same parking lot, and right next to that first Waffle House, we're going to build a second fucking Waffle House, okay? The plan is working.
3 Waffle Houses next to each other.
Which is one of those things that seems
gotta meet the demand.
dumb, but is actually brilliant. So obviously speed is key to this business model, and they've done themselves a big favor with their menu because their menu is overwhelmingly simple, okay? It's literally one side of one piece of paper. Okay, the entire menu is comprised of like 10 things. They have waffles, sausage, bacon, ham, eggs, toast, biscuits, gravy, butter, and syrup. Guess how many flavors of syrup they have? 1. It's fucking syrup flavored syrup. The entire menu is simple, exactly how it's supposed to be. Oh, sorry, they have hash browns too. Sorry, 11 things, not 10. Anyways, moving on. Another reason they do so good is they actually might be the best fast.
What's that?
find that place with the 3 Waffle Houses right next to each other and figure out which of those 3 is objectively the most annoying to get into and out of.
Mm-hmm.
And then get a job as a chef at that one. Because most likely you'll hardly ever have to do anything. Because your Waffle House will probably be visited the least out of the 3. Because people will just be like, that one's hardest to get into, so I'm going to one of the other 2.
True.
I'll only go to that one if the other 2 are packed.
That's true.
Fast food chain, when it comes to taking care of their employees, they pay them higher than average, they have super flexible schedules, and they're one of, if not the only fast food chain that actually offers all their employees health care and dental insurance. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay,
that's
but
pretty
really,
baller.
how good are they actually treating the Waffle House employees? I got the one stat that's everything you need to know, okay? Waffle House treats their employees so well that employees are willing to commute into a natural disaster to work at a different Waffle House when the occasion arises. Yeah, Waffle House is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and they fucking mean it, okay? Whenever there's like a hurricane coming or some type of impending natural disaster, Waffle House organizes what they call a jump team, a bunch of Waffle House employees from a different region that's gonna be unaffected because they know that their local employees are gonna be busy taking care of their own family and their own houses during a hurricane, so they bring in teams from outside the region to work inside of a natural fucking disaster, and they're willing to do it.
I never said thank you.
You don't have to.
And you'll never have to.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, man. I mean, the employees can just say no. But yet, because the benefits and because the pay is so good, why not?
And yet those employees always seem extremely angry when I go to Waffle House.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're still working. They're still at a job. And there's still, like, everyday, like, stuff that they're probably pissed off about. I mean, it's just how it goes.
Okay, McDonald's can barely get their employees to show up on a good day, and Waffle House has employees volunteering to commute into a fucking hurricane to make breakfast. And this is the most impressive part of the business because Waffle House has the best logistics and preparedness of any company I've ever seen ever. The only entity that beats them in logistical capacity is the United States military. Waffle House is literally ready for absolutely anything. Every single Waffle House has the playbook inside of it that details exactly how the staff is supposed to handle literally any type of emergency or situation that could possibly arise. And if for some reason the situation comes across that isn't in that playbook, after it happens, they immediately add it to the playbook. It covers tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, a hole in the roof from a branch falling, a car driving into the restaurant. You can drive a car into Waffle House and they're still planning on staying open. The playbook even has detailed plans for every type of disaster for what the local employees, while they're not working, should go home and do to make sure that their house and their family are safe as well. Every single Waffle House has a backup generator. The stovetop, it runs on propane, and they have a bunch of extra propane tanks on hand. Flashlights, candles, batteries, backup water. They have a special menu of what they're able to serve when the water is out and they're running on reserve water. When a Waffle House location is going to be in a disaster area, that Waffle House stocks up on extra food, and then all of the neighboring locations in the unaffected area also stock up and stage food there to get them more food when they need it. If Waffle House is a standing structure, those motherfuckers are serving breakfast come hell or high water.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Let him hear it. I'm not fucking leaving.
Waffle House is so good at this that
This
FEMA
explains
uses
that meme. Like, I always thought the meme was a bit of a joke, but it's like they really are serious, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Dead serious.
them to gauge how bad natural disasters really are. Yes, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, literally uses the Waffle House Index to gauge how bad a disaster is. Okay, green, Waffle House is running as normal. Yellow, Waffle House is using the backup generator or having to use an altered menu. Red, Waffle House is closed. People are probably already fucking dead by that point. Waffle House is literally the Terminator of the fast food industry, okay? The fact that the federal government, probably the most powerful entity on on the planet, maybe ever, looks at a chain of restaurants and is like, man, if Waffle House is closed, we need to mobilize the National Guard is fucking crazy. Now, maybe you guys are thinking the same thing I was at this point in my research, and I'm like, man, I need to invest in this company. I need to see if I can open up my own Waffle House franchise. This company's awesome. And this is where the bad news comes in. I mean, technically you can franchise a Waffle House, but most of us probably can't. The company is privately owned. It's not on the stock market. It's still owned by the families of the original 2 founders. And while they do allow...
I mean, private enterprise, I mean, in private investment in oneself, I mean, and not having to depend on investors, you basically will have guaranteed complete control over the say of like wages and all that, which is why a lot of these corporate entities, you know, the corporate owned like restaurants, they're gonna penny pinch as much as they can to try and save as much money as they can. They're gonna shortchange their employees. They're gonna like take away their benefits and stuff like that. No, privately owned one, the one that is like owned by the original brick and mortar people who made the fucking thing. They basically are just like, yeah, we're going to give our employees benefits. We're going to pay them well. We're going to basically give them everything that they need. We're going to guarantee them that they can go home and take care of their families whenever a natural disaster happens. I mean, dude, yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it, man.
Franchises, they are super picky about who they let buy in to have a franchise, and they make it very, very expensive to buy in to make sure this is actually what you want. And while that is unfortunate, I think it's actually kind of awesome. It's a company that actually has morals and cares about their image more than they care about next quarter's profits, okay? It's a company that has committed themselves to making breakfast under any circumstances, and they're gonna see that through till the very end, even though they could probably make way more money by just selling franchises and letting whoever the fuck throw up a Waffle House. And now for the fairy tale ending, Joe and Tom worked together as best friends for 62 years to build Waffle House into what it is today. They both passed away at the ages of 97 and 98, and now Waffle House and their legacy lives on as that company is still being operated by their kids, and that is the American dream. Get together with one of your best friends, pick a goal, even if it's something as simple as serving breakfast to people, and never let anything get in between you and achieving your goal, even hurricanes and floods and natural disasters, apparently. Work with your best buddy for 62 years straight, and then die together and hand it off to your kids. In conclusion, Waffle House is the most American company ever, and that's why I love it. Thank you for...
I wonder if the old men had a clause in like their will, being like, this is a guarantee that our children will inherit the profits from the Waffle House as long as they do not sell it to any corporate entity, in which the corporate entity will gain 100% of the profits. So basically, they are trapping their kids into having this and running it and not selling it to a corporate entity. That's what I would do.
Watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out. Just 2 homies that dedicated their life to serving my drunk ass breakfast at 3 a.m. I'm gonna get teary-eyed next time I go to a Waffle House.
Hell yeah. Oh, man.
I definitely respect Waffle House more now.
I do. I do too, man.
I always just kind of looked at them as like the ghetto place to get food really late, but like, to be honest, I didn't know they were such a respectable franchise.
You'd be surprised. Well, once again, it's because we have the perception of like memes on the internet, whereas, you know, when you actually dig into it, you find out a lot more interesting stuff that, honestly, it's just one of those things.
A lot of times chains like that are all over the country, you just expect to be corporately owned and therefore shitty in some way or another, you know?
Yes.
So,
but that's not the case.
It's surprising to me to hear that, like, they run things the way they do.
I mean, that's awesome.
But now it makes, like, a lot of sense. Like, I understand a lot of things about them I didn't understand before, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty wicked, man. Well, anyway, I guess that's going to do it. So that was the Fat Files, a.k.a. the Fat Electrician, with Waffle House, the Roman Colosseum of the South. So I'm going to leave a like on that video. And we hope that y'all... I
don't want to go to Waffle House now.
God dang it, I do too.
Except I'm really tired, so I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah. We do have a Waffle House just like a couple exits up, so we could go if we wanted.
Maybe another day.
Yeah, maybe. But, alright. Anyway, that's going to do it. So, take care, everybody. I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
Be good people. Take care. Peace.